Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, the Silva family. We are back once again. We're back with a fresh one. This is actually new. I've never done a reaction to Freshandfit, so this is a controversial one. The Freshandfit, they're based in America, I think Miami. They're quite popular here in the UK as well, but mainly in America. They've got 1.42 million subscribers. These guys, they work hard. Apparently, I heard that when they first started, they used to record I think they used to do multiple podcasts a day, like just podcast after podcast in a day. Like I think probably 4 or 5, I don't know, 6, I don't know, but do your own research. But yeah, man, it's a pretty popular podcast. So let me do my first reaction to these guys and see what these guys are all about. Let's go.
Why are men so intimidated by the idea of coming home to a independent woman?
We're not intimidated. It's
I
a
would
headache.
think that an independent woman, like independence, is an attractive quality.
No.
How would you define independence?
Good question.
I mean, in simple terms, a woman who doesn't need a man but wants a man and wants to be also. I mean, I can provide in my own ways, and the man will provide in his own ways. However, that's
the women just get it all wrong. Like, why don't you just take the time to learn what men want? Men, since primary school, high school, we invest time to learn about women, but women never seem to care to take the time to understand what men want. It's crazy, man. But anyways,
however the dynamic works, it'll work.
Okay, so you said a woman who doesn't need a man but wants a man.
Yeah.
So
Trust
like,
me, yo.
what do you mean by, like, I'm trying to understand what do you mean by
I mean, I'm not a child. I don't need a parent. You know, I want to be in a partnership. I want somebody who will, if I'm younger than him, for example, I want him to strive to raise me to his level. Just like I feel like
get a girlfriend. Get a girlfriend. Then get a girlfriend. If that's what you want, you want you want somebody with equal terms, then get a girlfriend.
like I feel like top tier men are drawn to people who they want to be their peers eventually. They like lifting people up, and I think that in a relationship it should be the same.
Well, I think for me, I think you're viewing it like as a woman. I think it's hard to view it as a man. I think it's a reality thing because there's certain things that you value that men wouldn't value. So for example, if let's say you made $200,000 a year, right? And your man made $50,000 a year, you would eventually want him to get there. Is that fair to say, ladies?
Absolutely.
And if he was lazy and he didn't want to get there, he wanted to.
If it was the other way around, if she earns 50,000 and the man earns 200,000 a year, his objective is not even to get her to 200,000 a year. His objective is to maintain the wealth, or whether you want to call it wealth or financial independence, or get more to support her and the family, you know. But he's comfortable enough for you to earn 50,000. If you end up earning more, okay, cool, as long as it's not more than him. But the other way around, like he mentioned, a woman will not feel comfortable in a long-term relationship, and then she constantly keep earning more than him.
Wanted to stay at 50,000, would that be a turnoff if you didn't want to get better?
Yeah, it's not about laziness. Here's another example. If I wanted to study something and I knew that I wouldn't be able to work for the next 8 years, medical school, for example, then if my man is willing to support me, I want him to eventually be happy with my success.
Yeah. So let me finish my example, and I want to answer your question. So the point is that you guys want a man to get on your level. So guys, if a woman was making $50,000 and you're making 200,000, do you want her to make 200,000? Is that a priority for you guys?
No,
It's not a priority.
So you see, guys, they don't view it that way. They like, you gotta think about it. Men are conditioned to protect and provide for thousands of years. So men are not looking for a teammate who can do what they do. You know, like it's like the best way I can break it down.
But it's not about doing. Sorry for interrupting you. I apologize. But it's not about doing what they do. It's about doing me and being supported and
so here's
supported emotionally. And
here's a problem: a man with options can choose, and unfortunately, you're the worst option. No disrespect, because here's the reality.
Women, the truth, because it hurts. It hurts.
There's two guys, right? There's a guy that makes 500,000. All things are equal. They're both handsome. They're both tall. They're both successful in their own sense, right? One is a successful teacher making 50,000. One is a successful doctor making 500,000. Which one is more attractive?
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I blinked out a second ago.
Okay, cool. So there's two guys, and everything is equal. Okay.
Thank you.
One of them makes 50,000. One of them makes 500,000. Which one is more attractive? Everything is equal.
It's okay to say the truth.
I know.
It's okay.
Listen.
The feminism in her won't allow it.
No. I'll answer honestly.
I want an equal partner.
I'm just as mesmerized by fancy, shiny things as any other person is. I find that sometimes men who have a lot become entitled.
Listen. I just said everything was equal.
Okay, then yeah, for sure the man who has more because my life would be better.
Because you value that more. So what you got to understand is women who think independence, you like that in men.
Yeah.
A man being independent, a man not needing you, a man to be able to take care of his stuff on his own. That's what you value in men. Men don't want that in women. Because the reality of the matter is, when a woman is really turned on by a man, when a woman is really in love with a man, when she really respects him, she becomes utterly dependent upon him because she does not want him to leave.
So here's what I don't like. My biggest fear is to lose my independence and to rely on somebody else.
And know where that comes from? Where does that come from?
I don't know. I mean, I've been independent since I was 18, and I think it's a very important thing to.
I think I had this conversation with my little sister. When women talk about losing their independence, right? It's important to get some sort of education and qualification. And get a license in whatever area you have graduated in. Once you've graduated and you've got your license in that area, it's okay to put your career aside, your qualifications and your license aside, and submit to a man. You know? But then if you're on OnlyFans, if you don't have no education, you basically the only way you make money is through social media. Then it is extremely difficult to give up your independency, you know, because say for example you're a good-looking girl, you've got fans, you got a lot of followers on Instagram, you're on OnlyFans, and you're making so much money. But then you find a husband, you're afraid to lose all that, because in order to submit to a husband, you have to give up all those glittery, shiny things. But then if the relationship doesn't go well, she hasn't got nothing to fall back on, because to rebuild your brand or go back to on social media, by that time you're probably not even looking as good as you used to look when you were younger. You can't even, your OnlyFans is not making as much money that you used to make when you were in your 20s, now you're in your 30s. So it's like, it's difficult for a woman in that category. But if it's a woman that, say for example, she's a doctor, or she's a lawyer, or she's an engineer, or she's environmentalist or an architect, whatever, within those fields, I think it should be easier for those type of women to give up the level of independency and to embrace their feminine energy more than the masculine energy, and let the man lead and let the man take over, you know, because if anything goes wrong, and say that man is a high value man, he's got money, and you guys are married, you guys divorce, you gotta get some. You get some, and on top of it, you've got a career. So there are two type of women in the world. But then again, a woman who's qualified, who's highly qualified, and who has a career. Those type of women usually they've got a tendency of masculine energy more than any other type of women.
I know, but where does that fear come from?
I don't know. I don't want to rely on anyone. I wasn't brought up to rely on anyone, and I don't think
exactly that came. So what happened in childhood? Either your experience showed you, or somebody communicated that to you. Because you're talking about, I have a fear. You can't live your life according to fear. Imagine me saying, I have a fear of crashing on a plane. I can never get on the plane.
Damn.
So your whole relationship movement is based upon a fear. That's unhealthy. And so what I've noticed is a lot of women.
It's like I always say, you should never let your past control your present and your future. You know, some people, they'll be saying that, oh, I can't do this, or I can't trust men, or I can't trust women, or vice versa, whatever, because of past experience. It's like you basically allowing your past, or the person who hurt you in the past, control your present and your future, you know. And that is a powerful thing. That is extremely powerful when you're allowing your past, the people in your past, control your present and your future. And you don't know how much you'll be missing out. You are missing out in your present. You know, say you find a partner, and you can be happy with that person, but then you're not allowing it to for that happiness to manifest, because you're simply afraid of what could happen based on what you have experienced in the past. That is extremely dangerous, allowing somebody in your past control your present and your future. I think I should make a t-shirt saying that. You guys better buy it.
When they move in a relationship, it's based out of fear. You can't live your life based upon fear.
I think it's unhealthy to put yourself in situations where you could potentially be left with nothing.
But that's the mindset.
That's the fear.
You see how you're living your life? You're living your life worst case scenario thinking. Yep. Imagine me saying, I don't want to start a business because if I open a business, I can lose all my money, because that's a risk of starting a business. You can put all your time, energy, effort, and money and resources into a business and lose it all. So what happens is a lot of women have seen either from divorces in their family, either from their mom whining, complaining, or they've seen a woman being in an unhealthy situation, and now their fear is the worst case possible scenario.
Here's another worst case possible scenario.
But you do not see how living like that is a problem.
I do understand. I completely agree, but I do think that there's a place for responsibility. And women in relationships, because there is a power dynamic, oftentimes can be put in situations where they can't get out.
So here's a problem. You said oftentimes. That is your personal experience.
It's not my personal experience. All of my relationships have ended amicably, and I respect all of my exes. I've never been abused, thank God. Mm-hmm. I've never had any negative situation like that where I relied on someone. Never.
So let me tell you why this is your personal experience. Because when it comes to divorce, if you can look it up right now, we have all the data. Women divorce men at higher rates than men divorce women. 70 to 80% of divorces are initiated by women. We have Google right now. We can go ahead and pull it up. Mm-hmm. So the reality of women being left by men is a misnomer. It is feminine mythology.
I'm not talking about. My concern is not being left by a man. My concern is jumping head on into a relationship where I'm feeling like I'm being supported and helped, eventually losing my independence because I'm relying on him. I don't need to work if somebody's paying my rent.
What does that mean?
So I'm explaining. Wait, I lost my train of thought. What did you say a second ago?
What I said is that
women are not leaving men.
Your fear. You literally said the fear.
Oh, okay. I remember what I was talking about. Okay, my fear isn't that I won't be able to. My fear isn't that my man will leave me. My fear is that I won't be able to leave because I'll be put in a situation where I can't leave.
Okay, so.
But how often does something like that happen?
That fear is based upon a worst case scenario. You're living your life on a worst case scenario. If you take that energy into business, you'll never be successful.
But
if you tell
relationships...
let me finish. If you take that energy into finances, you'll never have any money. If you take that energy into friendship, you'll never have any friends. So what happens is that if you're living your life based upon a scenario that a fearful thing can happen, that's on you. But the wise thing to be is to be like, okay, that's a possibility. So how can I, as a woman, find the right kind of man who will support me and help me not make that happen? There's no way possible you're going to find a guy where 100% of the time he will never do anything wrong.
So
life is a risk. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Number one, I do think that being a woman in the world, you do have to live not in fear. Maybe fear is the wrong word to use, but you do have to be very, very conscious and cautious of all the dangers around you. And relationships can turn dangerous at a certain point. That's number one. I'm not saying I'm living out of fear, not at all. Every relationship that I've been in.
What does that mean, though? You just said relationships can turn dangerous at a certain point. You know what's very fascinating about this is what you just shared? What do you mean by dangerous? You mean domestic violence?
Also.
Okay, so let's talk about domestic violence. You know what's fascinating? Do you know domestic violence in lesbian couples are the highest of all couples?
I mean, whether it's lesbians or straights or anything, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
Being in a relationship where you're relying 100% where you're codependent is unhealthy, in my opinion.
Codependent,
respectfully.
Codependent. This is what happens when you create straw mans. When you make an extreme. So on one end of the extreme is codependency, where I have nothing without you. Another end of the extreme is where you're probably at. Independency. I am without you. But the healthy medium is interdependency, is that I could exist without you, but I not only want you, but I need you.
So can I say?
Let me finish. Because I'm be honest with you, right now, the energy that you're on is masculine energy.
Oh God, no.
No, why? Because you're comfortable. And this is the problem. You're comfortable with having to usurp your way. So a lot of times there's no, when there's a relationship, when women say they want equality, there's no equality. There's no two kings in one castle. There's no two presidents in one country. There's no two CEOs of one company. There's always a leader and somebody submits to your leadership. You want to be in charge.
I don't. I absolutely don't. I will say my dating style, I love a man who will support me, lift me up, help me. But at the same time, I'm not going to relinquish all of my power.
I understand it, but what I'm saying is that what you're communicating is an idea which you feel like you represent. But I'm telling you right now, from even communicating with you, from this conversation, talk to hundreds of women, the energy that you have is very masculine energy.
Oh my God.
You can say all that you want, but the idea is you want somebody to join your team. You want somebody to join your program. You want someone to follow and support you.
I want to join someone's team just the same. I think
that's not how it works. That's not how it works. When two companies merge, one company joins one company. When two kingdoms merge, one king joins one kingdom.
And that's fine. But I'm not going to put my personal well-being in jeopardy.
Which is
healthy. I think it's healthy. Why is it an extreme to care about yourself?
No, you're making an extreme argument. You're saying that I'm putting my personal well-being in jeopardy. You're not. A lot of women who are in happy, healthy relationships, they're not putting their personal well-being in jeopardy. By being with a masculine man and submitting to them happily, they're actually putting their personal well-being at the forefront of their life, and they're benefiting from that masculine man's lead. But in your situation, let me tell you what's going to happen. Unfortunately, you're going to have to find a feminine man who's going to have to follow you, who's going to have to be led by. And you know what happens? Of course you don't want that, because no woman does. But the number one problem is, though you don't want that, the man that you want won't want you. And
I'll be honest, I've never had any of these issues in any relationship in my life.
Okay, then why are you so single right now?
What? Well, I didn't say I'm single.
Okay, so you're not single.
I mean, I'm seeing a person in my life.
So you're single.
I really don't want to share personal details.
If you've never had any like she said, if she never had any problems like that in her past relationships, then why are you single? Or why are you not married right now?
Details of my life, but I am in a very good place right now.
Let me be honest with you. You're doing what women try unfortunately do when they're in a social setting. You're
generalizing, but go ahead.
Well, this is just commonality between men and women.
Ahead.
What you're doing is you're using the English language to shape reality instead of to express reality. You see that you don't want people to look down upon you for being single. I'm not shaming you for being single. So therefore, let me finish. So therefore, you're trying to share, well, I'm not single. I may be single. You're single. So moving forward in this conversation, use English to express reality. And the reality of the matter is, yes, you are single. That's the truth.
Okay, can I ask something?
Go ahead.
I keep losing my train of thought. You're confused because you're talking at me, and then you keep telling me not to interrupt, and then my train of thought like loses me. So I do apologize. But why is it so important for people to strive to be in a relationship? My priority at the moment,
Of course, it is.
But let me just say, you preach this to men as well. You say, men, if you want a high value man, work on yourself, be better yourself. So I'm saying my job right now in life is to work on myself, become a better version of myself.
I love it.
And eventually, hopefully, I'll be able to be with a person who will deserve that.
I love it.
That's all.
So my question to you, what are 3 things that you're working on today that's going to make you desirable to the high value man that you want? What are those 3 things that you're working on today?
Social circles. I think that networking is very important.
Okay.
Another thing is I hope that I will be able to be successful in my life. And I mean, it's pretty shallow, but also I think that looks are important, and I take care of myself.
Cool. So out of those 3 things that you mentioned, you said social circle, success, and looks. The only thing that really is relevant to a high value man is going to be the looks. So the unfortunate reality is that a lot of women such as yourself, they say, I'm working on myself to be more desirable to a man. But the things that you're working on, a man does not want. Imagine a man.
Other girls, they seem like they're paying attention. They're listening. You know, and I hope they can put that into practice, not just listen to, you know, to resist.
A man saying, okay, I'm working on myself to be more desirable to women. And you know what I'm doing? I'm learning how to wear fluorescent dresses. Is he doing something that'll make him more desirable to women?
There's probably a woman out there.
Yeah, it's easy to make that argument. Let's be realistic. Is he doing something that's making him more desirable to top tier women?
Probably not.
Yes.
And by the way, I'm not disagreeing with you on most of your points.
I know, of course not. I know. So
I just want to make that a point. Like
we understand. We understand. Don't worry about the comments. Just you and me talking right now.
That's fine. I'm not looking.
So the point I'm trying to make is that when women say I'm working on myself, a lot of times they're not working on themselves in a way that's going to make them more desirable to other men. So to the point of, yes, our podcast, we're telling men to do things that tangibly, same as Fresh and Fit, we're telling men to do things tangibly that make them more desirable to women. But unfortunately, what you're working on and what a lot of women work on are things that will not make you attractive to men.
I think that's the end of the video, guys. Yeah, there were some good points out there, but I think to generalize everything, women need to start putting the effort to understand men, especially women who want to get married, women who want to have children, women who want the traditional lifestyle of having a husband. It's important to learn about men. It's not just about yourself. You know, you hear a lot of girls talking about how they're working on themselves. Like, you're working on yourself for what? For 20 years. Why hasn't your past relationship worked out? Why aren't you married right now? You know, it's a fair argument. Instead of, it is extremely rare to meet a girl that says, oh, I'm single because I'm trying to learn and understand men. You know, I think that's what women need to start saying. Instead of saying I'm working on myself, it should be I'm on the process of working on learning about men and understanding men. I think once you begin to understand men and how men think and how men see the world and how men see relationships and how men view women, it'll be easy for women to choose the right guys. Anyways, that's Silva family. You know, every week new reaction. Don't forget to subscribe and press the like button for me.